I'm feeling good tonight. This thing got me thanking Lord for life. I can't explain. I can't explain. Hi, my name is Zandile. I'm 19 years old. I'm a TUT film school student in the first year. I'm studying film, and yes, today I watched and finished and with an E. I must say I'm feeling positively, eternally, confoundedly changed, and my imagination has just grown insurmountably. I just finished watching and with an E. I really enjoyed the entire series. At first, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I did try watching the series at first, like, alone. I did try watching it because and like before, like, this was, I think, last year during my gap year. I did try watching the series on my own, but then as I got into it, I think it was the first like 5 minutes, it was that whole carriage ride with Anne and Matthew, and then she kept talking, and I was just like so irritated and annoyed because, you know, I have to keep it very, very honest. The media that I've been watching, especially considering nowadays is social media, modern day social media, and, you know, just social media has always been that way. It's modern day toenail, like, same thing either ways. Considering the media that is mainly perpetuated now, music, movies, TV shows, everything is so tragic and miserable. There is no positivity, and when you add positivity in it, it just feels so performative. And even when it isn't performative and it's genuine, it still feels dirty. And I don't know if I don't think it's a personal thing. But it can also, but I do think that it can be partially personal to me, and I can be like adding to the problem with my own mentalness and like my own brain. But at the same time, I also feel strongly that it's just been the quality that we've been receiving recently as like a group of people, and as like a generation. That's what I feel like the quality. That's what I feel like the quality nowadays in terms of like the media is giving. I'm not saying that it's poor. I'm not saying that it's high. I'm saying that's what the majority of media is now. It's very rage baity. Like, I feel like I mentioned this in a previous video. I feel like social media in 2026, I feel like everyone on social media is trying to humble each other and is trying to, in some way, bring each other down. Even when you're bringing somebody up, like, as I've spoken about it, and I saw this other person who also does it, where I'm just like, okay, if you're gonna give me advice, giving advice isn't like the most joyful thing to have to like get to. Like, you should want to be in somebody's life to be in their life, period. Not to one day have to sit down and have like a talk with them. Like, that's it, that's the reason why you're with them, so that you can yell at them and tell them why they're so wrong. That doesn't sound right. And I feel like that's what a lot of social media feels like. I feel like a lot of people on social media, so that they can be like, I'm right, you're wrong. And it's so negative, and it just takes away absolutely all will to continue. But at the same time, social media is extremely addicting, so the will to continue continues, even though you feel crushed by the video that you just saw. Even with advice, like girlies advice. Oh, advice with the girlies. Oh, here's my, like, and that's not what happened in And with an E, but I'll speak about that shortly. Even when they like are giving advice on social media, it's very aggressive in the manner they give advice. No, it's just very aggressive. I'm pretty sure you understand, and I don't want to re-traumatize people, but yes. And watching And with an E and having finished it now has definitely, yeah, it has definitely opened up my eyes to the way in and what is being put in social media currently. That being the case, And with an E is a very, very cute, positive TV show that is just, it's so positive and cookie cutter clean that it just it's so unrealistically beautiful. That's one thing that really was pointed out to me as I first started watching it. That's why I stopped watching it, because this girl's talking and Matthew's just like, yeah, yeah, yeah. and I was just like, this girl's annoying. So then I switched it off. But then I continued watching it because I was procrastinating, and I still am. I have an assignment due tomorrow, but I want to be done with it today. I was supposed to be done with it 3 weeks ago. I was given 3 weeks to do it. It's literally one page. It's not that long, and I'm here procrastinating. Yeah. I've just noticed that with an E, it's just so positive as a TV show. It's so odd coming across that type of media because it's not normal to me to see something positive happen for the sake of it just being positive. Like, you know, when somebody says I love you and there's no reason, I just love you and that's on period. You know, that feels so fairy tale. And I know many people will be like, yeah, love is not like how it used to be. I don't even want to compare to how love used to be. People used to get married because that's how things were, not because of love, you know. The love wasn't the only reason to get married. Whereas now in 2026, love is the only reason that you can get married now. You can't lie to yourself in 2026. That's why everything is so tragic. Because it's in humans' nature to be so tragic. We are very dramatic beings. That's why everything is just so like tragic. There's a tragedy happening now. We are affected by trauma. We don't think clearly at times. We are very powerful and evil and good and bad and nice and cruel and all of those different binary opposites, sorry. And it just has me like, I can't. I was kerfuffled as I was watching it. And I did contemplate leaving at times, but that's because of my attention span. um, yeah, watching it from start to finish, it was definitely an experience. It was definitely an experience. I've definitely been making comments along the way of me watching it on certain characters. I feel bad, man. I feel bad for Mrs. Mary because Mrs. Mary is literally trying to work what she has and you can tell what she's got. And you can tell she's got that she has been. But then, as I continued watching, I realized that the way in which I was watching the show was very Euphoria. Does that make sense? With Euphoria, it's very with Euphoria and the current media around it, and medias that are similar to it in 2026. All the media that is out, including Love Island and all of these different shows, it's built very much on the basis of rage bait. As I said, it's very much, oh, you have to pick a side. If you don't pick a side, you're picking a side by default, and that makes you evil. It's very, this is cookie cutter good, this is cookie cutter bad. There's no gray area. And even if in the gray area, they're still choosing a side. It's how much to make it 60. Disruption. That's what I call this. Like, I don't know, like slay. So when it comes to when it comes to me watching and with an E, I watched it from my understanding of that because as an audience member, I've been conditioned to think that way from watching all of the media that is currently out in 2026. If you're on social media, you watch YouTube videos, you listen to podcasts, you read books, and you watch movies, you are part of my dial. You are inside of my dilemma by default. And I don't want to hear no, I'm not. You are. And even if you don't do any of the stuff, you still are. It feels very, everything just feels so very, you have to choose a side right now. And I understand that completely, and I understand it completely. Doesn't mean I agree 100%, but I also do agree to a certain extent. Humans are complicated beings. It's the human condition. I've been learning that in my script writing class, and I feel like that needs to be applied in modern day in it, and I feel like that's, it doesn't only go for writing scripts, it goes for every single thing that exists in this lifetime. Humans are very complicated beings. There's gray areas in every single human being. There's a good and a bad in every single human being. The good doesn't sometimes outshine the bad, and the bad doesn't sometimes outshine the good. We're very gray area beings. I say that, and then someone's gonna bring up this evil person who has done something evil, and then they're gonna be like, yeah, this person was this. Can you stop ruining everything right now? Oh, that sounded so mean. I'm sorry. Let's sit and breathe and just listen. You don't have to pick a side in this media or what I'm saying or agree with me. You don't have to disagree with me. You don't have to anything with me. You can just sit and listen and just like let it all go. That's my point. In And with an E. And with an E felt very much like a show that you just sit and watch and you let it all go. If you're happy for Anne, you're happy for Anne. If you're mad at Anne, you're mad at Anne. And if you're okay with Anne, you're okay with Anne. If you're annoyed by her, you're annoyed by her. At the end of the day, you're going through this experience with her. And it was very nice going through that experience because it made me realize that life is worth the living. Because what Anne is going through is something that I can go through exactly copy paste in real life. I'm a girl, I was a teenager, I was a child, and I'm now in university. Anne is now in the end in university. And it's so like, it's so weird watching stuff like that. I'm not used, I've mentioned it before already in this video, but I'm not used to like such positive, beautiful feedback from a show, or such positive some there's it's not it's so nice that it almost seems like it's not real, and it isn't real. It's so positive and inviting, and when there's discrimination, it's addressed, and people uh, take the adult and mature step about it. They think through their decisions. Everyone is so lovely and all of that, and it made me think about how society in modern day is exactly like that, except it's not, and everything is just so complicated. It felt good to escape from everything into the show, and I will definitely miss the show for that. I do think it ended off perfectly. I remember before going into the show, everything that I read on the show or saw about the show, people were saying, oh, I wish they made a season 4. It doesn't make sense why they ended on a season 3. People kept saying stuff like that, so I was like, okay, I'll just watch it. I'll be left on a cliffhanger. I'm fine with that. But then no, it ended off at seasons. Every single plot point was addressed in the end, except for that old guy in a wheelchair that Matthew saw that one time. Who was that? But yeah, everything was addressed, and it's a very positive show, and it gives you hope to live again. It also shows me that it helped me feel like I had a voice. Does that make sense? And it also helped me understand that every single person on earth has worth, is worthy of self-worth. That's the lesson that I mainly learned from And with an E. You're worthy of everything because you exist, period. The fact that I'm here on earth means that I'm worthy of everything that I want. And I'm not talking, I don't want to burn buildings down, but I do want to be happy, and I am deserving of that. Yeah, I learned that from watching N with an E. I also found it quite odd, and this is going further deeper from watching N with an E. I found it quite interesting that through the progression of the show, I'd never really had like good female friendships, not even good male friendships. I just haven't really had good friendships, period. Or no, I didn't really know what a good friendship looks like, or what that's supposed to be, or how you're supposed to behave, or anything like that in terms of friendship. And all the advice I had received has always been online. You don't get advice from that about that stuff in real life. If you don't have a community in real life, it's really hard for you to like conform to norms, because you're conforming to what? You're just alone. And that's very much how life has been for me. I've always felt very disconnected from everyone else. And I know that my people that speak the same language to me that I need, the language that I need to hear, I know that they're out there somewhere. And if I've met them, then we will circle back and I'll probably see them again. If I haven't, I'm also okay with that. Really, it showed me what true friendship can look like and how simple it can be. You don't have to prove your friendship to somebody else by dying for them. You just have to be there, and that's it. And you don't have to expect, you don't have to feel like your friendship is invalid because somebody else made you feel your friendship with someone is invalid because that person hasn't done A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P for you when that was wholly unnecessary. It also helped me understand that sometimes you're not going to speak another person's language, but you can still find appreciation in them irregardless. And I do thank Diana and Anne for that, because their dynamic was just so odd to me. and eye-opening. I really enjoyed how eye-opening it was to sit in Diana and Anne's shoes. It was very eye-opening. It was just very eye-opening. I really enjoyed Diana's little quips and all of that, and who she is as a person and as a character, as well as Anne. And I think at first, like for the first few moments, not even minutes, moments, I did not really like Marilla, but I've learned to like her, and I've learned to, in a way, like everyone on the show. They're all just at the end of the day people who are trying to figure it out. There's no good guy or bad guy, and ultimately that is the natural human truth in a way, but it's just so beautiful and so positive. And by beautiful, I don't mean like cinematography. It was a 10. Oh, the cinematography is enough to compare with Van Gogh's artworks. I'm not talking about beautiful in terms of that. I'm talking about beautiful in terms of these two people can just like each other and like each other because they like each other. They don't have to prove that they like each other by going through the depths in order to do that for somebody else, which is what a lot of media says. Oh, if you love your husband, if you love somebody, you should be willing to die for them. There's no requirement for them to die for one another in order for them to still be friends, because no one's going to put each other through that situation. That's not a situation you should aim for. And that also opened my eyes up further to the conversation about, like when now you see in a lot of Pop the Balloon challenges. I don't watch Pop the Balloon challenges, but if you know it, you know it how I know it. I see it when I scroll. In a lot of those the balloon challenges, I see people who are like, oh, I want somebody who's gonna be with me through the dark times and light. Or some guys will be like, oh, I want her there with me, da, da, da. Oh, if a woman doesn't stay with me when I'm in jail, oh, she doesn't like me. Why would you want to put anyone through that? Why would you look at anyone that you love and be like, I want to test our relationship, so I'm going to find a way to self-sabotage, land myself in jail, and torture you by forcing you not to have access to your loved one. I just don't understand that. And within E also showed me that that's not necessary. You don't have to understand that. You don't have to understand it because that's not the standard. That's crazy and it's weird. And I deeply appreciate Anne within E as a show for that. It was such a cute show, man. It's such a positive show. It's very odd for me to have like it's just a very odd show, but for all the right reasons. There are no wrong reasons in why I like the show. I'm just so weirded out as I watched it. Anyways, yeah, it just opened my eyes up to the fact that life doesn't have to be horrible. Literally, life doesn't have to suck. You can make a positive thing out of a good amount of situations, but just because you can make a positive thing out of a bad situation doesn't mean the bad situation needs to exist. Don't purposely dig yourself a hole so that you can enjoy the ornography of watching somebody else pull you out. It's basically that. It's a type of ornography. Yeah, I'm just excited to get to work now. I feel like I'm in a working mood. I feel like I was really, really down, and End with an E really like helped me get back up on my 1-2 feet. And that's what TV shows are all about. That's what movies are about. Yeah. I hope I stumble across something like that again. Not like Anne with an E. I don't want to watch another show like Anne with an E again. It's too much positivity for me. I'm not used to it. I feel very weird right now. I feel enlightened, and that's very dangerous because you feel enlightened. Someone's gonna steal that from you in 2026. Yes, ma'am. I do suggest you watch it as well if you want to watch it. It is a good show. It is a good time. And anyone who is anyone can find their place in it. It's a positive thing. It's a positive space. You'll find your space in it, and you'll find your experiences in it, and you'll find your routine in it, and it'll work for you. And if it doesn't, switch off the TV. Yeah, 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 yeah. And I met you in the sun. To my heartbeat sound. We got love as the leaves turn brown.